you love entertainment, current events, and Hollywood, don't miss Creator to Creators, hosted by the filmmaker Meosha Bean, known for the Shudder hit documentary Horror Noir and the acclaimed film Anatomy of an Anti-Hero, Redemption. This show features interviews with filmmakers and creatives from around the globe. Join the fun with guest celebrities and gain valuable insights. Subscribe now and follow Creator to Creators.
Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Creators to Creators today. Today we have a special guest.
My name is Matt Hartley. Hey everybody.
Welcome, welcome.
Welcome.
So I love going to the beginning. I always say the beginning charts our trajectory in life, our little habits that we pick up along the way, follow us into our adulthood. Tell me a little bit about your childhood. What was that like? And how did you get your start into music?
It's interesting. I feel like I should pull up a psychologist bed right now and we can get right down into the old me playing with G.I. Joes and He-Man when I was in school. But my childhood was pretty normal in terms of, both my parents worked. So I kind of was a bit of a latchkey kid, if you know that terminology.
Mm-hmm.
So my mom worked, and then when I would get home from school, I've kind of just helped myself into the house, and she wasn't always there, but that wasn't a big deal because my parents were always there. But I think for me, I kind of tell this story about how music, why do I even play music? I can't even tell you why. Because I would write lyrics when I was like 8 years old.
Wow.
For whatever reason, I would play Nintendo Super Mario Brothers, and then after that, I would go and write lyrics, even though I didn't even have a guitar, I didn't have a piano.
Wow.
So I remember my parents got me a drum, and someone told them that if he learns how to play a snare drum, just the one drum, he'll learn. And I was so upset about that. I'm like, why did you buy me one drum? Like, what am I going to do with this one drum? I went down to that basement, and I'm not going to kid you, I banged on that drum, and I broke that skin. I banged on that one drum, but I think my parents didn't know better. They listened to people at music stores and like, well, yeah, get your son this drum. And so I learned how to play the drums first, and then I took piano lessons, and then one summer, going into college, I grabbed a guitar. I
Mm.
went to Guitar Center. I went down and I stayed in my room that summer going into college, and I learned how to play guitar.
Amazing.
Yeah, it was like so when you say like, how was your childhood? It was very common, typical, nothing crazy, but the thing about music has just always been in me.
I love that. I love that. That's a beautiful thing. And I think that's and my question to you would be, with that, would you say that you found your purpose?
No.
Mm,
No, because I still don't know what that is, even though I pray about it.
yeah.
It's funny that you asked that question. Purpose is interesting. I know what I like. I know what I
Yeah.
like to do. I know what I like to do, but you know, I don't know. My purpose is so interesting because I have two little girls
Hmm.
and they are a purpose.
Yeah.
But that was, 10 years ago when they didn't exist, was that my purpose?
Yeah.
Or is my purpose this gradual evolution of time into these various things like responsibility with children and playing music, for example. So
Yeah.
it's hard. That's a hard question. What is it my purpose? I don't know. I don't know what God
That's
has. I pray about it. I don't know what God has planned, but I'm very, very fortunate that if I can even just play a guitar or play piano, what a blessing that is. What a blessing.
absolutely. Absolutely. I love that. I love that. And speaking about, just the your music and your single, Heaven's Calling, Channel for Hope. And I think it's such a beautiful song and because for such a time that we are in. Such a weird time around the world right now. A lot of people are in search of some type of peace and release. And I think it's great to hear music that is good and that is hopeful and that has a good message. Um, Tell me a little bit about that and that journey, Christian rock and moving into that.
Yeah, I mean, you and I were kind of talking about it before the podcast started, and I think you were in California at one point, and
Hmm.
in January of this year, when those fires were hitting in California, I
Yeah.
mean, it was, I mean, go look at those videos. It's
Yeah.
crazy. Some of the people like just escaping the Palisades and
Hmm.
embers of fire falling down on them as
Yeah.
they're literally trying to protect their house. Um, that's when I started writing that song, Heaven's Calling. But
Mm.
it has such a deeper meaning. The song, I mean, we could talk all night about it. I mean, to be completely honest with you, but the real sort of, I came up with this riff on a Saturday in January of this year, and I'm like, well, this is cool. And then all of a sudden, this word, times are calling, came
Yeah.
out of my mouth, and I'm like, man, that really kind of related to what happened in North Carolina with Hurricane Helene. So,
Hmm.
I mean, it just floods just rampaged, North Carolina. And then you saw the fires with California. It's like, this is, you know, there's a point where it's like, maybe you need to get right with God. You
Hmm.
don't know what's going to happen. I could walk out of my house right now and get hit by a car. Now, I hope that does not happen.
Right.
But that's where you can't control Mother Nature. We can't control life. And at one point you realize all you have at one point is God.
Hmm. I love that. I love
You know,
that.
that and
Yeah.
that's really the whole purpose of that song, Heaven's Calling, is that at one point you're going to get on your knees and you're going to cry because you have a sickness. Your house was burned to the ground. You have a disease or some other issue, or there's a family member that's not doing well. And where do you go?
Mm.
And
Yeah.
at that point, you have two choices. You either accept that heaven's calling you, or you deny it.
Mm.
And that's really what the song's about. And if you have the moment of clarity that heaven's calling your name in that time of grief and suffering, that is the true blessing of life.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And that's the whole purpose. That is literally the whole purpose of that song.
That's beautiful. I think that's a beautiful thing. And thank you for being so um brave. I think too, especially in this music world. I don't know, do you ever feel like the pressure, because it's like, oh, there's always there's just, I guess, a stigma of like, oh, Christian rock is not, I mean, it's not the mainstream, and you want to get to this level and you want to do this. And um, do you feel like is there a pressure to talk about positive and hopeful themes versus
You
being,
know, that's a good question. It's funny. There was a person who commented on the YouTube video that I just put up about a week ago for Heaven's Calling, and it was actually no, it was on Facebook. And she mentioned, "Well, I hope this isn't any demons screaming, because that's
mm.
not Christian like." I'm like, well, no, no. I mean, that's not my style to scream. I'm like, I don't even think I would make it with my vocal cords. Um, I am fortunate. I
Yeah,
have I have no pressure but my own pressure that I create.
that's good.
There are artists who I understand they dedicate their life to this. And it's not like I haven't dedicated my life to music, because I have. Because I didn't just put it down and walked away from it. I do it because it's in my soul.
Right.
But I'm fortunate that I'm not pressured by what I say. And that's a very fortunate place for me to be in.
Yeah.
So I can take whatever I write, what I think is is good,
Hmm.
based on the blessings of God, then I can put that out there. There are folks who want to put their message out, but maybe they don't have the resources. And to be honest with you, 20 years ago, I didn't have the resources to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm at a point where it's like, okay, now I have some time, I have some resources. let me do this. Let me
Yeah.
get this. Let me get these songs out. Let me get the message out. And if one person hears it, I'm a winner. And if I touch that one person where they're like, this heaven's calling, I listen to the lyrics, this, I get it, then I won.
I love
That I did my job. I did my job as an artist, that I touched this one person. And that's what I think that's what I'm driven by,
that's
honestly.
that's beautiful. That's beautiful. I love that you don't have that pressure.
Yeah, I don't.
Um, and that's a beautiful thing. I mean, you hear so many people in this music world that, and I think it's a part of it. It's like they, the feeling that like they have to conform,
Mm.
to comply to be a Bon Jovi or whoever, to be the next legend. But I think like I love that what you said is like, you don't have that pressure and you're being led by God. I think that's all that matters at the end of the day.
I mean, it is, and I think and I've actually watched a couple of interviews with Jelly Roll, for example, recently, because
Yeah.
he talked about some of the, because I think he even was in the initial sort of stages of him becoming an artist and not as popular initially, and
Mhm.
going through all those signing contracts with a lot of the labels,
Yeah.
and that creates pressure.
Yeah.
That creates pressure and expectation. So that's another thing. There's kind of an interesting thing that we're in with music right now too, is that it's been democratized.
Hmm.
So the access to, a computer that then you can pull up Logic or Ableton or what have you and actually
Yeah.
produce a song, you know, that's wonderful. That's beautiful. But it also creates a lot of competition and a lot of noise.
Yes.
And sometimes
Yes.
not good noise.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like music is noise. I mean, sometimes it's just not good noise. And I think it's helped the business, but it also has made music so much different. There's so many songs being put out on Spotify, and you know, it's hard to cut through all that noise.
Yes. Yeah, it's so saturated. So
It's so
saturated.
saturated. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I mean, you do these podcasts and you kind of hear through it. So it's like then you get to a point, what do I really want to do here? And
Hmm.
I'll tell you, for me, it's like if my two little girls can hear these songs
Yeah.
20 years from now, sitting at a family reunion, and they pull up maybe YouTube, that's amazing.
That's beautiful.
But if through that there are people who actually enjoy the music, hallelujah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's kind of
Absolutely.
how I look at it. That's really the only way to look at it.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. I love that. And it's great. It's such a really great song. So, I was going to ask you the process of making that. I mean, how involved were you in making this song? Are you in the room? Are you like over like near the producer? Or are you just like how was that process?
Yeah, so when I write a song, I had an interview just recently, and I was talking about this because I listen to a lot of John Mayer and how he writes songs,
Mm.
and because I always find it interesting to hear how other people do it too, because then I'm like, do I do it like that? Um, it's for me, I use a concept called free association,
Mm.
and what I do is I'll noodle with the guitar, and then a riff comes out. I'm like, well, that's kind of cool, and then
Nice.
I start literally just saying gibberish. Like there's no word that you could make from it other than I'm starting to create a melody.
Yes.
And then what happens from that feeling of the guitar riff and kind of doing all that gibberish, all of a sudden some word comes out like times are calling. And I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, that's pretty cool. And then from there, I get like the first verse, and that's where I'm like, oh, I can run with this. I can run
Yeah.
with this concept. And that's how I write a song. It starts with the music for me first. I don't write lyrics first, typically.
Hmm.
I come up with chords and I get the feeling, and then the words come from it.
I love that. I love that. That's a cool process. I was reading.
It is a cool process. It is. It
Hey, I've
is.
heard some really interesting like artists and their process. It's very interesting. Like I heard who is that guy? He says he goes into the booth and he has no pen or pad. He just kind of just goes and it just words come. I'm like, whoa. So I mean, it's
That
amazing
was
how
Little Wayne
you
does
guys
that.
do it.
Little Wayne
Yeah.
does that. Little
Yeah.
Wayne will. I heard an interview on Little Wayne where he goes into. he literally goes in the studio and he just starts flipping out his words.
Wow.
And I'm like, because he was having it was an interview with Jimmy Fallon. He was
Mm.
Lil Wayne was telling about because Jimmy Fallon's like, you've written like 1,000 songs, and Lil Wayne's like, no, I don't do it like that. I just go into the studio and I just make it happen. I'm like, all right, that's pretty cool.
Perfect.
I'm like, that's really
Easy.
cool. I
Yeah.
love that.
If only were that easy. It's so funny. It's so I commend you. I mean, it's amazing how, the process. So I mean, it's just and it sounds amazing. You're just the quality and of the song and like I said again, the message. I really enjoyed that. I love hearing music that isn't, you know, kind of like most songs that come out, which is look, there's time and place for everything, but it's good to hear positive, uplifting music because I think music should be a place to escape, to get away from all the hardships that I think sometimes we go through in life on our day to day. And it was such a great, it felt like very anointed, if that's the word I wanted to say. That's what it felt like listening
That's a
to
great word.
this song.
It's like, and the other thing I came to a point is that there is a point in any career. I don't care if it's music, whatever you're doing, podcasting,
Hmm.
even for you, right? Like there's a point where it's like you want to take it to the next level.
Yeah.
You want to bring it up, and the only way to do that, most cases, is that you work with people who have either done it before or have a significant amount of experience.
Yes.
They can, like, if I'm going to learn to play tennis and I'm going to be the best in tennis, I cannot play someone who's as good as me. I
Yeah.
have to play someone who's better than me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was something where I'm like, I gotta elevate this up. I gotta work with people that are better than me.
I love that.
Otherwise, I'm gonna be just playing this guitar and coming up with a song on a Saturday.
Yeah. I
And so
love
the quality of Heaven's Calling was really, honestly, it was a test for me. Like, okay, if I write this song, which I think is fun and cool, what if I hire someone to help me produce this
Mm.
and do it right? What's gonna be the quality? And did I throw it through an AI engine? No. Could I have done that and come up with something with Sumo or whatever other AI engine out there? I absolutely could have. But I hired a famed producer and executive in the industry, David Kirschenbaum, and he's amazing to work with. We've had such a great relationship, and we used studio musicians for parts that I'm not good at, like drums and even bass. It was done organically with, we use synthesizers, but at the end of the day, it's real instruments being played by real people. Um, and that for me is where the true quality is.
Mm. Hmm.
And and we're gonna do it again. And we're gonna do it
Love
again.
it. I love
Like,
it. I think that's so important. Like you said, to
mhm.
have that team that can elevate everything. Um, you are as good as the people around you. That's so
Yeah,
true.
I mean, that's 100%. And so that was it for me. I'm like, okay, I can always take this so far. Let's elevate this and see what happens. And the outcome was better than I expected.
Hmm.
Is Heaven's Calling a Billboard 100? I mean, it doesn't matter, but the quality is certainly there. The timing on the downbeats, the the overall production of it was great, and
Hmm.
I'm excited to see what we do next.
Yeah, even the visuals. Tell me about that. Like, how involved were you in the visual department? Did
So,
you
all right,
direct it?
I'll be honest. We did use ChatGPT to come up with a storyboard,
Nice.
but with all fairness, the concept of the music video was already there. Like we
Nice.
already, so basically, when you listen to the song, and I live in Charleston, so the backdrop of that song was Charleston, but I also, I'm right next to North Carolina.
Yeah.
So a lot of folks in Charleston went to North Carolina to help when Hurricane Helene flooded everything up there.
Yeah.
So I kind of lived through that a little bit. And so it was fitting for me in the song to use Charleston as a backdrop, but
Mhm.
also to interweave some of the footage that was from Hurricane Helene. And
Yes.
that whole thing, that concept, we threw into ChatGPT to help us storyboard out. And
Nice.
then once we had the shots, I sat down with our producer and we were like, okay, where are we going to do this shot? This is shot one. Where are we going to do this in Charleston? And we laid it all out and it worked great. We were able to do it in 30 days. We got permits from the
Oof.
city of Charleston. Yeah, we did it pretty quickly. But if we didn't have, see, this is where AI is funny, right? Like AI was a super help here.
Yeah.
Would I write lyrics from AI? Probably not. If I got stuck on a word, I might use some help.
Yeah.
Would I want to throw my music into AI? Probably not. I want it to be organic.
Yeah.
But in this case, where I needed a storyboard, where it was kind of helping me sort of structure and outline,
Yeah.
you know, doom, 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 ChatGPT was amazing.
Hey, I love it. Came in clutch. 30 days. That's pretty, that sounds
Pretty,
amazing.
it was
Intense
pretty
too.
amazing. Yeah, it was intense. We were crazy. I'm like, Bradley, are we, my video producer, I'm like, Bradley, are we gonna get this done? He's like, yeah, we're gonna get it done. All right, all right.
Were there any challenges that you faced in the process?
I mean, the only thing is, we had to get approvals. Like,
Yeah.
for example, we shot in front of a very famous church downtown in Charleston called St. Michael's.
Nice.
And so we had to reach out to the rector and ask them permission to use their imagery in the video.
Oh,
They agreed.
nice.
They agreed. So it was those property permissions that we
Hmm.
had to get. It's like people are like, oh, you did this video. I mean, this video, as much as we did it quickly and it's not Steven Spielberg. And I know, do, I don't know, do you do film producing?
I do.
You do, don't you? I thought you did. I thought, 'cause I was like, so you probably know about some of this stuff. And um,
Love Spielberg. He's great. He's the
I mean,
goat.
yeah, like you've directed a bunch of films,
I have.
actually.
I have. I did a few. I've before getting into film, I did music videos before I got into film.
We got to hire you then. We got to move on to the next one. Um, I mean, to
I'm
elevate
down.
for
I'm
sure.
down.
I'm calling now that I have your number. But yeah, so the challenge really was getting the property owners to agree and getting the spots solidified. But it went quick, and honestly, that's just glory to God.
Yeah.
Honestly, it was he moved through it and got it done. And for the budget that we had for that video, I thought we did a fantastic job.
I
This
love it.
wasn't
I love it.
Spielberg quality in that respects, or budget, but or even Taylor Swift, by the way. But
Yeah.
um, it was a good video for what we had and what we had to work with.
That's beautiful. I have a fun question, and there is no wrong answer. But I love asking this question to every guest. So here we go. The three levels of influence: money, power, and respect. And if you could choose only one of those things, which one would you choose and why? No wrong answer. No pressure.
And, you know what? I would choose money, and I'll tell you why. Because I have, fortunately, I've started a few companies. I
Mhm.
started a software company about 10 years ago.
Nice.
It was a disaster.
Oh,
Uh, but
sorry.
that's okay. No, no, that's okay. I learned a ton. And, when people give you money because they expect something from you, and that's whether it's in a job or even in an investment, because we got investment for that software company and we were kind of early to market with it, which probably was one of its failures. But um, it changes everything. You
Mhm.
take money from someone, you change, you don't become a different person per se, but you have to have a level of responsibility.
Right.
And I think for me, I've learned to be over the last 20 years very responsible with money.
Hmm.
Very responsible with money. Not only my money, but other people's money.
Right.
And if you were to give me your money, I'm gonna make it go to work.
Nice. Nice.
So that's the only reason why I would say money is because I'm very responsible with money. And I'm not looking for to have power. I'm just doing the right thing with it is really what's important.
I love that. I love
Yeah.
that. It's a great answer.
Yeah, that was the only reason why. I mean, listen, respect and power, all is good. Power, is interesting, but it's when you have people's money, you have to be responsible and you have to do the responsible thing with it.
Yeah. Yes. Exactly.
Yeah.
I love that. It's a good answer. I think a lot of people always say respect, which I understand, but I'm like, Dude, would you really? Would
I
you
mean,
really if
respect
you
is
could have
important
anything?
too.
That's great.
Respect is important. Um,
Absolutely.
there's a point you've heard this a lot of people about people who have a lot of money. There's a
Yeah.
point where the money's just, what are you going to do with it?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
there's a point where there's really you just don't need it. And I get that. And I know that it's hard to say when someone's struggling with a, job of only making $25,000 a year. I get that. And I'm
Mhm.
I'm not trying to downplay that. But there is a point where, money is not necessarily a factor and it really comes down to what good can I do?
Right.
And
Yeah.
that's kind of really where it comes from. But yeah.
It's beautiful. Beautiful answer. Love it. Um, Studio vision, what, imagine Peak Studios.
Yeah.
What is your vision for supporting and mentoring emerging Christian rock artists?
I had a young 23-year-old over at my home studio the other day. He he wrote a song, and he recorded it at the chapel in the church that I go to is Seacoast Church here in Mount Pleasant, right outside of
Yes.
Charleston. And Seacoast is the home of Brandon Lake, by the way. So
Okay.
Brandon lives in Daniel Island, not too far from here. But this young guy I met at the church, and he sent me the song that he recorded, and I heard the changes on the piano score, and I'm like Justin, you got to come over here, man. Let's record this and program it into MIDI and get it right and get the
Mm-hmm.
timing right. The piano score is so amazing.
Mm-hmm.
It's so good, and the lyrics and everything that he has, and we have to work on the vocal a little bit more, but that was just a couple weekends ago. And doing that, you realize, okay, sure, it was 4 hours of my time,
Mm-hmm.
but it was worth it. Like it was worth investing my time, not charging or doing anything. I would never even charge for it, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
But to get that on into a recording for him, so then he can kind of take it to the next level and maybe think about different lyrics or other things, you know, that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
That's what it's so you're asking what's Imagine Peak Studios? If I can help local folks who are want to put a demo together,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? Like they're not looking for a high-end production. They just want to put a demo together that's not done on an iPhone.
Right.
Like
Right.
I can help you. If you haven't
Right.
done it before, you don't have all the right equipment or you don't have a great mic, I can help you. Let's sit down on a Sunday and let's bang it out for a few hours. And honestly, I'm not going to charge you.
I love that.
I don't need to. I mean, I can't do that all the time because I only have so much time in my life, um, but that's kind of the notion of Imagine Peak Studios. It's that if I can help, in our place with all the connections that I've made and help someone else leverage that. And, that's great. That's what Imagine Peak Studio is about. It's really about taking what I've learned and then helping others with it.
I love that. I love that. Beautiful. Beautiful. Because that's what it's all about. I mean,
That
you
is
have
what
all
it's
this
all about.
knowledge and stuff sitting on. It's like, what do we?
Where am I going to do that? I mean,
Right.
like once, there's going to be a point where,
Yeah.
I might not even be here anymore. And what am I going to do? Just hoard all this information, which you probably can get on ChatGPT now anyway. It's like, yeah, I just think there's a point too in people's lives where giving back is the right thing to do. And it's not
Mhm.
just giving back money, it's giving back your time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Beautiful. What guidance would you offer to aspiring musicians, that young boy, that young girl who's navigating their own creative path and they're facing challenges along the way and just trying to figure it out?
You know, I I I don't want to bring politics into this conversation right
Oh,
now.
please do. It's so fine. It's so fine.
But I am going to, you know, Donald Trump said one thing and it was pretty prolific that he
Yeah.
said went everywhere. Don't give up. Don't
Hmm.
quit. Don't quit. Don't give up.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not trying to quote a political leader, but it's pretty profound in the sense that if you really love something in your life, and it doesn't matter what it is, podcasting, directing movies, making music, programming computers, whatever it may be, right? Flower gardens. I mean, it doesn't matter. Um, you just don't give up. Like, and for me, like with music, yeah, I've had hiatuses that just it just happens. Life happens, and you got to take a break from it because you just don't have the time. But
Hmm.
I always come back to it. I'm always coming back down that music path. And that's because it's just a passion of mine. It's just I love doing it. Um, and I think the only advice I can give to anybody, whether it's music or company or flower gardens, is that you just keep going. You just keep doing it. And if you have to take a break, go take a break, come back to it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I feel like a lot of times people kind of feel like, if they're not, I mean, at least I can speak for myself. I remember, when I first started out in film, and a lot of people are like, oh, if you don't, you just got to do this, and if you leave, that means you're giving up. And I'm like, no, sometimes you have to pivot, and that's
100%.
okay.
Yeah, look at you just said the key word. Sometimes you have to pivot.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to pivot. Yeah. So I think just not giving up
Yeah.
and never feeling discouraged because you're not where you think you are. You're
Mm.
probably not where you want to be. It's because God doesn't want you there yet.
Ooh, oh, that's good.
Like, and
That's
that's a hard rock to swallow for many people. They want to be driving the Rolls Royce or the Lamborghini, and who cares about that? But by the way, but um, you may not be ready.
mm,
You may
I
have
hear.
to go, may have to go through a hard time. A hard
Yeah.
time might be coming. You know what? I saw another video on this. You're having a hard time? Good. Good. That's
Yeah.
great. Good. If you're struggling with something, something's having a hard time, that means God's working on you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Sometimes rejection is God's protection. I heard that.
That's
I was
that's
like,
another good
wow.
one. That's a great one. God's protection is sometimes God's protection. Another great. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
Ah, this was so good. Thank you so much for coming on. This
Oh, I
was a
love it.
great conversation.
So thank you. I honestly I appreciate you guys reaching out and having me the opportunity to be on here too. So I'm thankful.
Absolutely. And thank you for sharing your gift with the world, and for such a times that we are living in right now. I appreciate that, and thank you for coming on. It was lovely. Where can people find you on social media to follow everything you have going on?
Yeah, so thank you for asking that. So selfless plug here, I guess. But
Go for
my
it.
my URL is at Matthew Hartley Music. So Matthew with two T's, Matthew Hartley Music. So that's on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. They all have the same handle. So at Matthew Hartley Music.
Beautiful, beautiful. Are you on TikTok dancing? I'm dancing.
I haven't done that quite. I'm not, I'm an okay dancer. It's probably not my best suited thing to do, dancing. But if I have to get to a point where you see me dancing on TikTok, something has gone seriously wrong. I have gone, I have now, I mean, at that point, I'm taking my clothes off and I'm probably on something I shouldn't be doing. So
Thank you so much for
I'm
coming on. It
serious.
was so wonderful talking to you. It was great. Thank you again for your time. And
Thanks, Meosha.
thank you all for listening. And always remember to live, love, laugh. We'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.